What's going on, everybody? It's kind of like a shop talk. I own a barber shop where I'm in right now. I had a client come in. This first time he ever came in. He was either late 20s, early 30s, white guy. You'll see why that's somewhat important. And he came into my shop, and I was like, well, what do you want to get done? And he was explaining to me, I want this cut, I want this length. And then he's like, but I don't want those lines like the N-words get. Except he didn't say N-word. And I was taken back a second because, I'm like, oh, he's kind of comfortable saying that in front of me, but I'm a big white dude, middle-aged, tattoos everywhere, I don't know, talk a little slangish, but so I did say something to him, and I do feel like I kind of that I had to kind of qualify why I didn't like him using the word, right? Especially the way that he used it. I mean, any way that you use it, really. But one white guy to another white guy, I'm like, eh. And like, I felt like I had to qualify it, which I shouldn't have felt like I shouldn't have felt that I had to do, right? Because it should just be okay for me to be like, hey, I don't appreciate the usage of that word around me, And I shouldn't have to explain what, my stepfather's black. The man that raised me, my actual stepfather growing up, he was black. He's passed now. My little brother father, he's black. He's passed. My youngest brother, his father's black. That's my stepfather. He's still married to my mom. And, I had said to him, I was like, I said, I know you don't know me, but, my stepfather's black. And, I kind of stopped it there. I said, I don't really appreciate the usage of that word, and he was like, oh, my fault, and, I even contemplated about because I hadn't draped him up yet, and I was going to be like, son, see, we're done, But, I would be a hypocrite that way because I tell my friends, you should reach out to people that even if you think that their opinions are against yours, right? If your opinions are against, you don't agree with them, right? So, I told him, this is the long and short of it. He explained to me, he's like, I spent a lot of time in prison, he came off of a 6.5 year stretch. And, if anybody's been to prison, especially like state prison where you got to do, 2.5 or more years, it's very segregated in there. And racism is alive and well in the prison system for sure. And you got to kind of, not so much. In some places in county, you got to do it. I've experienced some of that, but mostly in upstate and things of that nature. It's really separated. But he explained to me, and he apologized, and I was like, and I just kind of let it go. And then we had a conversation about, and that was the other thing I said to him. He's like, I spent a lot of time inside and blah 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, I feel you, man. I said, but we're home now. We're home now. And he's like, yeah, no, you're right. I said, you could have used any other word. I said, I don't know what about me gives off the persona that would be okay in front of me, I guess. Maybe some white people, people are comfortable being racist among each other and nobody calls them out on it, And I didn't want to end the conversation right there and then and be done with it. But, I kept with it and I talked with them and we got kind of to the other point, and and I explained to him. I said, you could have used any other word. You could have said brother, or you could have said, I don't know, whatever it was. And he was like, yeah, no, you're right. And then we had a really great conversation, and I don't know, maybe should I have thrown him out? I don't think so. I think having a conversation with him and trying to get to the he explained to me where he was coming from, whether I agree with it or not, at least, he did apologize and he kind of, told me what was up, and like I said, I felt like I had to qualify it. I guess I didn't really need to qualify it, but, it kind of gave me an out where it wasn't super uncomfortable to confront the gentleman, and he's going to be a regular client, and we'll see where that goes from there. Hopefully everything works out. It worked out that day. It'll probably work out for the, near future as well. So, that's the story I wanted to kind of share. And, you you can't just turn your back on people. You know, I mean, if he just kept at it and was like, well, I don't give a fuck, you know, blah, 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 and then this and then that, blah, 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 you know, then maybe I would be like, nah, you know, we can't do, you know, do this and yada, yada, yada. But, you know, it didn't end up that way. And I think that it was more of a positive step, you know, a step in the right direction rather than becoming, you know, a strife, argument, issue, you know. But, you know, you got to practice what you preach. You know, I tell people all the time, like, hey, you know, get to know people that you wouldn't normally know, or, you know, try to help somebody that isn't in your, you know, in your circle, and just things like that, you know. And if we just shut people down and, you know, cancel them right off the bat, you know, I would have never got an understanding for where he was coming from. He would have never got an understanding where I'm coming from. And maybe in the future, he might choose to not use that word. You know, we'll see. All right, peace, y'all. Have a great day. Peace.